We're going to do lesson 2.3 today, and we'll correct the homework on Monday. And it's a pretty fun lesson. It's about the zero property and the one property of multiplication. So let's go ahead and go over to our video, and we'll go ahead and watch that.
What are the patterns in multiples of 1 and 0? Think about this question during the lesson. How could you use counters to show the number of oranges on the plates? Make 8 groups with 1 counter in each group. Kira has 8 plates with 1 orange on each plate. How many oranges does Kira have? What operation should you choose to answer this problem?
Okay.
Use multiplication to find 8 times 1. 8 groups with 1 in each group makes 8 in all. Kira has 8 oranges. What other operation could you use to solve this problem? You could add the number 1 8 times.
But that's not as efficient, is it?
If Kira had 1 plate containing 8 oranges, she would have 8 oranges.
How can you use counters to show the number of oranges on this plate? Make 1 group of 8 counters to show the number of oranges on this plate. The identity, 1, property of multiplication. When you multiply a number and 1, the product is that number.
Okay.
The zero property of multiplication. When you multiply a number and 0, the product is 0.
All right, so let's look at these. So when we say the identity or the one property of multiplication says when any number is multiplied by 1, the answer is that first number or that number that it's being multiplied by. So whether we have the 4 times 1 or the 1 times 4, the 4 is the one that will win over in that one. Whenever you are multiplying with 0, it doesn't matter what the number is, the 0 wins. The 0 wins every time on those.
If Kira had 4 plates with 0 oranges on each plate, she would have 0 oranges. How many plates are there? There are 4 plates. How many oranges are on each plate? There are 0 oranges on each plate. If 4 times 0 equals 0, then 0 times 4 equals 0. Can you use counters to show the number of oranges?
Can we use counters to show the number of oranges on this plate? So there's a counter. Can I use that to count these oranges? There aren't any oranges to count.
There are no oranges on any of the plates, so there is nothing to show.
Can you show 4 times 0 with counters? No. 4 times 0 means 4 groups of 0, so there is nothing to show. Think about how this relates to adding with 0. How is the 0 property of addition different from the 0 property of multiplication? In the 0 property of addition, 4 plus 0 equals 4 means 0 is being combined with 4. In the 0 property of multiplication, 4 times 0 equals 0 means 4 groups of nothing.
The identity, 1, property of multiplication says that when you multiply a number and 1, the product is that number. The 0 property of multiplication says that when you multiply a number and 0, the product is 0.
If 4 times 0 equals 0, then 0 times 4 equals 0.
All right, let's go ahead, go back, and we're going to do convince me, which is on page 74 in your book. So it should be on page 74 in our book. Okay. Got all kinds of things popping up on here today. Okay.
How would you use counters to show 7 times 1? How many counters would you have in all?
Okay. So let's go over to our camera now. Okay, where's my camera? Looks like my phone was trying to download, or my computer was trying to download something. Okay, so how would you use counters to show 7 groups of 1? Okay, you would have, there's 1, and there's another, and there's 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. There are 7 individual ones, so you would have 7 in all, because any number times 1 is going to be that number. All right, so this lesson, for most of it, should go pretty quickly today, because the multiplication, the identity property of multiplication and the 0 property of multiplication are 2 of the easiest ones to learn. So we have those here for you to read through again. The identity 1 property of multiplication, when you multiply a number by 1, the product is that number. So 7 times a 1, it is going to be the 7. The 0 property of multiplication says when you multiply a number by 0, the product is 0. So I have 4 groups of nothing. I have nothing. So the 0 wins on each one of those. All right, so let's go over here to our guided practice. Number 1. Draw a number line to show 8 times 1 equals 8. All right, so we know that 8 times 1 is going to equal the number that it's times, so that would be 8. So let me get, okay. And if we're doing 8 times 1, I'm going to jump 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the answer would be 8. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Oh, I got to remember my jump from 0. Guys, I forgot my 0, because I was looking at that going, how could there be 7 jumps? Goodness sakes, Mrs. Martinez. Okay, number 2, Chad has 6 plates. There is 1 apple and 0 grapes on each plate. How many grapes are there? How many apples are there? Okay, so we have 6 plates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 1 apple on each plate, so how many apples are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 apples. And how many grapes are there? 0 grapes. Okay, let's go over here. 3 times 1 says you can use the identity and the 0 properties of multiplication to find these products. So we know that any number times 1 is going to be that first number. So 3 times 1 is 3. There are 3 things in groups of 1. There are 3 groups of nothing. So 3 times 0 is 0. 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 0, 0 always wins. Whenever you're multiplying with 0, is the 0. 4 times 0 equals 0. 2 times 1 equals 2. All right, go ahead and pause this if you need to get anything written down. Otherwise, we're going to go down here to number 9. So find each product. So 0 times anything is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. 1 times any number is going to be that number. 1 times 6 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. Okay. Number 12, 9 times 1 is 9. 0 times 2, 0 times anything is going to be 0. 1 times 1 is 1. One group of 1. The picture you draw is one circle with one thing there. That's 1. Number 15, 6 times 0 is 0. All right, on the bottom part here, it says write greater than, less than, or equal to in each circle to compare. So what is 1 times 6? That is 6. What is 8 times 0? That is 0. Is 6 greater than, less than, or equal to 0? 6 is greater than. So we put that open mouth going towards the bigger number. Number 17. 0 times 6. 0 times anything is 0. 6 times 0. 0 times 6, or 0 times anything is 0. So that is equal. 0 is equal to 0. Number 18. Let's see if I can grab that little thing here so I can move it. Hope it's not going to let me move. Okay, just move my book. All right, 0 times 7 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. So 0 is less than 5. Number 19, 0 times 0 is 0, and 0 times 9 is 0, so these are equal. 1 times 7 is 7, and 5 times 1 is 5. So 7 is greater than 5. And number 21, 1 times 4 will be 4. 4 times 1 will be 4. So these are equal. All right, go ahead and pause if you need to get everything written down. Otherwise, we're going to go on to page 76. Okay. Brent drew this model to show 5 groups of 1 is the same as 1 group of 5. Is Brent correct? Explain how you know. So we have 5 groups of 1 equals 5, and we have 1 group of 5 equals 5. So the question is Brent correct? Can you explain how you know? Okay, so these are equal to each other. They both equal 5. Number 23. A unicycle relay team has 4 riders. Each rider has 1 unicycle. If each unicycle has 1 wheel, how many wheels does the team have? What property of multiplication can you use to find the answer? Okay, so we have 4 people, and they're riding a unicycle. A unicycle has 1 wheel. They each have 1 unicycle. One of those has 1 wheel. And now it says, how many wheels does the team have? If each unicycle has 1 wheel, We've got 4 groups of 1 wheel will equal 4 wheels. Okay, and what property did we use? The identity or one property of multiplication. I'm running out of room over here, guys. Squeezed it in there. All right, number 24 says, tickets for a school concert are free to students. The cost is $1 for each adult. So it's free for the students and it's $1 for the adults. What is the total cost of tickets for 5 students? So how much did it cost for students to go? It's 0. I need to pay that much by the 5 people that are going to go, and that is 0. There is no cost. It's not going to cost anything, so there's no cost. Number 25. Go ahead and write those down. Go ahead and pause if you need to. When you unpause it, I'll be going right where you are, so don't worry about that. Number 25. The product of 2 factors is 0. One of the factors is 0. Can you tell what the other factor is? Okay, so we have 2 factors, and the product is 0, and one of the factors is 0. So can you tell what the other factor is? Can you tell what that one is? Explain your answer. No, we can't, because it could be any number. But times 0 will equal 0. There's not a whole lot of room right there. All right, number 26. The children in the 3rd grade classes are having a bike parade. Barb's class has 18 bikes. Tim's class has some rows of bikes with 5 bikes in each row. Tim's class has more bikes than Barb's class. How many rows of bikes could Tim's class have? All right, so let's look at Barb's class. We've got Barb over here, and she has 18 bikes. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, and Tim has more bikes than Barb's class. How many rows of bikes could Tim's class have? The children in the 3rd grade are having a bike parade. Barb's class has 18. Tim's class has some rows of bikes with 5 in each row. Okay, Tim's class has more bikes than Barb's class. How many rows of bikes could Tim's class have? Explain. Okay. So he has 5 bikes in each row. Okay. So there are 5 in each row. He'll have 3 rows. It says here, how many rows of bikes could Tim's class have? Tim's class could have 1, 2, 3, 15. Can you see all of that, guys? Let me bring this down here. All right, so let's see if we've answered all the questions. Tim's class has more bikes than Barb's class. How many rows of bikes could Tim's class have? Okay, so if we're just going with how many 5 bikes in each row, I think we need to add some more because it's supposed to be more than Barb's. So we've got to add another row of these. So now we have 4 groups of 5 equals 20. How many rows of bikes could Tim's class have? They could have 4 rows of 5. Okay. So they could have had 15, but it says we had more than Barb, so we know we have to add more to that. And if his rows are all 5s, then we know we're going to have 4 times 5. All right, number 27. Is the equation correct? Choose yes or no. 1 times 4 equals 1. Nope. 4 times 4 equals 0. No. 7 times 1 equals 7. Yes. 0 times 9 equals 9. No. All right. So make sure if you need to go back and get anything written down in your book, please do that. And we're going to be getting our homework started. So at the top of our homework page, it's got the identity property, the 1 property, and the 0 property of multiplication. And it shows you examples of how those work. So you can use those to do your problems on here. It says in numbers 1 through 6, draw a picture to represent the multiplication fact and then solve. So one group of 3 would be one group of 3. 0 groups of 6. Well, can't draw anything there because what is 0 times 6? It's 0. Okay, so go through all of those. Find the product here, write greater than, less than, or equal to compare these problems down at the bottom. What you might want to do is answer them first, and then you can compare them. Okay, but the times 1 and the times 0 should be pretty easy for you. All right, on the back, it says, Chen says the product of 4 times 0 is the same as the sum of 4 plus 0. Is Chen correct? Explain. So that one might take a little bit of time. Chen says that 4 groups of 0 is the same as 4 plus 0. Is she correct or not? And explain. Number 15 says Sarah put 7 boxes in her closet. Each box is for holding a different type of seashell. So far, there are 0 shells in each box. How many shells does Sarah have? Tell the math you use to find the answer. So don't get lost in all of that wording. What's the nitty gritty? What are they asking? How many shells does Sarah have? It told us that she has 7 boxes in her closet to put shells in, but so far there are 0 shells in each box. So how many does she have and what math you use to find the answer? And we're going to correct this on Monday. Number 16, Bob made a picture graph of the marbles he and his friends have. How many more marbles does Bob have than Kayla? Explain how you found the answer. Okay, so we've got Bob, Malik, and Kayla. Okay, each red dot equals 1 marble. Okay. I don't want to give anything away like I did with the morning work yesterday. Okay, number 17. Kristen has 6 coins. She puts the same number of coins in each of 3 envelopes. How many coins did Kirsten put in each envelope? Okay, so there's 3 groups with 6 coins total. So how many are in each group? And then number 18, Chef Morgan's restaurant has 24 tables. That might be important. 15 of the tables each have 1 flower in a vase. The remaining tables have 5 flowers in each vase. How many flowers are there? Show how you found the answer. Okay. How many flowers are there? Okay. Now at the bottom it says, can you multiply the numbers on the left side of the equation to get the number on the right side of the equation? Let me reread that. Can you multiply the numbers on the left side of the equal sign to get the number on the right side of the equal sign? Choose yes or no. Goodness sakes, that was a tongue twister. 0 times 2 is 0. 1 times 4 equals 5. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 0 is 5. So you're going to be picking yes or no on there. All right, guys, and that will do it for today's math lesson. Make sure you get your homework done so that we can correct it on Monday. Let's get ourselves back up here. There we are. Okay, so make sure you do your homework. We've gone over it. It shouldn't be too hard at all with the identity property and the zero property. And we will correct this homework on Monday. So make sure that you have it all the way finished before Monday. All right, guys, please make sure you're doing your IXL and please make sure you're doing your extra math. Those are all very important programs to be using too. All right, guys, thank you. And I will see you either if you haven't read the read aloud, I'll see you in the read aloud, or I will see you on Monday for our next video. Thank you, guys.